3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's me, the Einstein of Wall Street. We are here with Trade Like Einstein. I am Peter Tuchman, and we're here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange in the balcony. History is made in this building every single day. Somebody with my long-term experience, I've been here for 137 years. It is my responsibility to help teach you how to navigate this market successfully. Boom! Hey everybody, it's me, the Einstein of Wall Street from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, and this is one more episode of What the Heck is Going On? And I'm having a what the heck is going on hairdo. I think I'm having a great hair day. Great hair day means great market. Let's be clear. Goes back to many, many years ago with Mark Haynes from CNBC when he would see me and I was having a great hair day. This is a great hair day, just to give you perspective. The market was going to be up, and that's where we are today. Let's talk about it for a little bit. Last week was a really rough week, right? It was a mouthful in every respect. We came out of last week talking about that tech had its worst week since March 2020. I mean, come on, that's a mouthful. Think about that was COVID. That was down 10,800 points. That was that insane sell-off that we had in March over COVID, right? That was that bottom. March 23rd, 2020 was it. And so to call last week the worst week since then is a big deal. When the market does something like that gets your attention, it's time to pay attention. If we put it in perspective, why all that happened, is it that the Fed missed an opportunity and should have been a bit more ahead of the ball? It's possible. Did the economic numbers set ourselves up for that last week? I don't know, because if we looked at this on Friday morning, the numbers were 140 versus 160, not so bad. The month before we had 114 versus 170, way worse. Unemployment back then went from 4.2 to 4.3. That caused this whole August 5th sell-off. Remember that? That was that perfect storm I talked about, right? The anemic, unfortunate, unpleasant, unhappy Fed meeting on that Wednesday, the economic data labor force numbers on that Thursday, then the Friday, we had the escalation of the war with Israel and Iran. We had the Japanese stock market crash. We had the VIX go from 20 to 60. We had the carry trade, and then we came in on Monday and had that major sell-off. The 2 weeks after that big sell-off on Monday, we clawed back and we got into positive territory and we did really well. The 2 weeks that followed that were the ones leading into this past Friday, which were really fragile in every respect for the market. We got tech was getting pounded. The whole market overall was getting pounded. We were 6, 7, 8% off the highs, which had been the week before, 2 weeks before. And I always say to you, has anything fundamentally changed? 3 weeks ago, we were trading at record highs across the board. Has anything fundamentally changed? And you know what? If you really analyze it, perhaps so. Friday's numbers were not that bad. However, what is it that caused Friday to be so bad, and that was after that capped off a really bad week, was the revisions of the prior numbers. That was terrible. We were revising some numbers from 180 down to 80 and 160 down to 90 or whatever it was. You know, revisions kind of catch me off guard because I don't get it. I just don't get the whole revision thing. But all of that being said, we created once again a perfect storm. We did have Jay Powell's meeting, and we did get some clarity about the cuts that we're going to have in September, but it feels like a day late, dollar short, perhaps. And so we ended up after 2 weeks after the August 5th situation, where we clawed back beautifully. We regained that 41,000 on the Dow. We regained 5,600 on the S&P. We had 2 really fragile weeks, culminating in Friday's economic numbers, which were disappointing. The revisions were way even worse. And you ended up having that major sell-off that we had capping off last week. Where does that leave us? That leaves us coming into a weekend. And look, we are now into September. We are weeks closer to the Fed cutting rates. Probability 59% of a 25 basis point cut, 50 basis points, 50%, 39% for a 50 basis point cut. I think the market will react favorably to 25, probably not so to the 50. But we're here on Monday. two things could have happened. We could have had a lot of follow through because we almost did close on the lows Friday. And when you do that, often you'll gap down on the following Monday and the market continues to break down. Or the other case scenario, these are always, is the market going to go up or down, Einstein? Yes, that's what happened. It turned out that we got the other side of that coin. I'm going to pull out my flipping coin and flip it. What ends up happening was today, it feels like, I don't know if it's just for today, but it feels like we caught a bid. We caught a bid in the market. The buyers have showed up. The bodies have dug themselves out of the dirt, and the buyers are back. Look, we're up 50 handles. Solid day. Opened up, continued to go up, and we're trading on the highs of the day. Hopefully that continues, and hopefully this is, maybe the bleeding is over. This last week was a bit of a bleeding. Maybe the bleeding is over. Maybe we've caught a bid. Maybe it's time that the market turned around. And that would be nice because, look, some people's, after the last couple of weeks of that really fragile sell-off, we're talking that the economy is really not doing that well and we are in trouble and that all these other things then started to break down the whole scenario that 3 weeks prior we were trading at record highs. So for today, we're having a super solid market. And I'm building a case. I'm building a case for Wall Street Global Trading Academy. I'm building a case for my man, David Green. I'm building a case for you all sitting there over the weekend with your friends. Some who are trading the market and struggling. Some who are not trading the market at all. Some people are watching everybody else make money in this market and you're not involved. And you're going like, when is a good time to do it? When am I going to get involved in the market? When am I waiting for that sell-off? You missed that sell-off a couple of weeks ago. You missed the August 5th sell-off. These were opportunities, right? The sell-offs that we've seen August 5th and last 2 weeks were opportunities to get into stocks that were super frothy when the story fundamentally have not changed. Wall Street Global Trading Academy is an academy that I built with David Green. David Green is the master technician in the space. I know I give you stories about why the market's doing what it's doing in a forensic way. However, what I love to talk to you about is the educational component of all this. Wall Street Global Trading Academy, WSGTA, is an academy built by me and David Green, 21 videos, 21 hours, 400 hours of archival work. We coach and mentor all our students. There's a course, there's a boot camp. If you're sitting around and struggling with this market, if you're sitting around and not involved yet, and you're dying to get involved, you want to try a futures funded trading account, come and talk to me at WSGTA.com with Mr. Green. If you're struggling with the retail side of this, and you want to trade equities, but you don't know what to do, and you need the playbook and the menu, come to WSGTA.com and hang out with me and David Green. We've got the solution. We know the problem. The problem is a crazy volatile market that goes up and down and you just don't know what to do. Some people think it's a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not. There is a solution. There is a playbook. There is a menu. And that menu and solution lives at WSGTA.com. There's a link in my bio. David Green, my teacher, my mentor, my friend, master technician, one of the great teachers. Like, if you're sitting around wondering, how do you trade this market? I need to find a guy who's going to teach me and coach me and mentor me. David Green's the man. WSGTA.com is the destination. Bing bong shots. Come check us out.